and say hello, everyone, and welcome. We're glad that you could join us today for our webinar, Beyond Automation, How Apsona Buttons Empower Every User. My name is Aaliyah Walker, and I lead marketing here at Apsona. I'm joined today by my colleague, Lori Gardner, one of our solution engineers, and she'll be guiding us through some exciting real-world use cases and a live demo. And before we get started, just another quick intro. I'm Aaliyah. I lead our communication and marketing strategy. So from creating content to drive engagement and lead gen, and creating newsletters, managing our social channels. I also help coordinate our virtual and in-person events. So it's always exciting to see people show up. And with that, I'll hand it over to Lori.
Thanks, Leah. Like Leah said, I'm Lori Gardner, solution engineer here at Apsona. I've been at Apsona for about a year and a half. Before that, I, like you, was an Apsona user. I came from an organization that found itself migrating to Salesforce and very quickly became a super fan of all of the Apsona functionality. And eventually, here I am.
So here's a brief introduction to Apsona if we have some new people in the audience. Apsona is a certified and 100% native Salesforce solution. We've been in the ecosystem for over 13 years, serving organizations of all sizes and across more than 10 different industries. Apsona is really designed to complement Salesforce's existing functionality, enhance your productivity, and streamline your workflows. Our mission is to really enable users to make data-driven decisions with ease. And also shout out to all of the users for leaving us a review. And we have a 4.9 rating on the App Exchange.
Still want to know who didn't give us a 5.
That one person.
Right? Who's that one person?
All right, so we are thrilled to have you join us today for this quick 30-minute session on how you can unlock powerful data management actions, even if you don't have a full Apsona license. A few housekeeping items. We are recording today's session, and let me just check again before we go any further. We are, and I'll send out this recording with the follow-up. Please feel free to type your questions in the Q&A chat, and we'll answer those at the end. So here's what we'll cover today, why we're here, some common challenges Salesforce users face, who buttons are for, what they can do, real world examples, and then a live demo, and then we'll leave some time at the end for a Q&A. All right, let's dive in. I'm pretty sure we all worked in Salesforce, and know that sometimes routine tasks can take up more time than they should. There are lots of clicks, lots of steps, and sometimes too much reliance on your admin team. So that's where Apsona buttons come in. They're designed to simplify processes and give every user, whether they have the full standard license or a specialized license, the power to get things done faster and ultimately save time across your team. Today's session is all about showing you how Apsona buttons go beyond automation, making Salesforce more accessible and productive for everyone. One of the things that makes Apsona buttons so powerful is that they empower every type of user, whether you're working with the standard or specialized. So with the standard license, users have full access to Apsona features. That includes being able to build and deploy Apsona buttons, build single and multi-step reports. They have complete document merge functionality, the ability to import data and clean it, and also some advanced data actions in Apsona. On the other hand, are the specialized licenses, which is designed for users who may not need that full scope of functionality, but still need efficient access to the right information. These users can take advantage of button-based actions for pre-built report templates, view embedded reports on record pages, and they also have limited data actions in tools like our Grids product. The key takeaway here is that both license types can leverage Apsona buttons. This means your specialized users who may otherwise feel limited can still contribute to workflows and access what they need without depending on the admin or full license user. It's a way of extending efficiency and productivity across your entire organization. Now let's talk about what Apsona buttons can actually do in practice. So think about the tasks that usually take hours of clicks and navigating records, exporting, or manually preparing documents, which I've heard a time or two. With buttons, all of that can be turned into an instant one-click action. This is especially powerful for specialized licensed users. Instead of needing the full access to everything in Apsona, they can still trigger pre-configured reports or document merges with a single button. And here are a few examples of what that looks like. So with document merge for gift receipts, contracts, proposals, cross-object reporting, where you can instantly export cross-object data into a formatted Excel template designed by the admin, and it can be complete with pivot tables, charts, or groupings for some deeper analysis. There's also campaign management tasks like instantly generating name tags or campaign member profiles for event check-ins. The big picture here is speed and empowerment. Buttons let you streamline repetitive processes and give more of your team the tools they need to be effective in Salesforce, no matter what Apsona license they have. And I'm going to turn it over to Lori to talk about some real world use cases.
Thank you, Aaliyah. Your timing was excellent. I don't know if anyone noticed in the background, but my cat, who has just had surgery and is wearing the cone of shame, was on the desk with me. And I'm like, oh no, oh no. She's very klutzy with the cone, so I was afraid that she was going to fall off the desk, but she's fine now. Whew. Okay, sorry, back to buttons. So Aaliyah was talking about like what buttons can do in theory, but how do they really deliver impact across different types of organizations? Buttons can really be used in any industry pretty much for any need for merging data. I mean, these are just a few examples here, but there's really no limit. Whether you're a nonprofit, an education institution, or literally any other industry or team, you likely have a need to merge Salesforce data into documents or spreadsheets, and a button can make that so easy, literally at the click of a button. Sorry, I had to do that. You can go on to the next slide. Aaliyah, sorry. I'm a little punchy today, I guess.
No
So
problem.
as Aaliyah mentioned, buttons launch merge actions. A merge action in Apsona can produce either a merged document in either a PDF or Word form or an Excel spreadsheet. So how do you do that? You choose a merge action that you've already created. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about when I get into the demo about how to create merge actions. That would be a whole nother half an hour of explaining merge actions. Hopefully you at least have some familiarity with that. Then you literally click the make a button and then copy that code to a component that you can add to any Salesforce page. And then who can click on that button? Anyone with any kind of Salesforce or Apsona license, whether it's the full standard license or the specialized licenses that Aaliyah was mentioning. Anyone can click a button. You can click a button. You can click a button. You get a button. You get a button. Sorry. It's not even Friday. All right. I am
Look,
going to steal sharing from you.
awesome. Sure.
Oops.
Can
I
you?
can't steal. You have to stop. Sorry.
Okay.
I am not as powerful as I thought. Okay, so hopefully now you all are seeing my screen, and what we are looking at is just a regular Salesforce record page. This is a campaign record. And over on the right, you see a whole bunch of buttons. These are Apsona buttons. So again, what do buttons do? They launch merge actions. So if I wanted to create name tags for this event, I can click on this button, click proceed, and it will take the data from the members of this campaign, the related list, and merge it with a template that I have configured into a merge action in Apsona. Did I actually click that? Did it download it? Let's see. Yeah. And then I open that file and voila, I have the merged document. It also, as mentioned, can be an Excel spreadsheet that I'm merging data into. And when I click download results, just something as a side note to mention with Excel spreadsheets too, this one is kind of basic, but if I wanted to add any kind of conditional formatting or a pivot chart or any of the other Excel stuff you can do with an Excel spreadsheet, you could make that part of your template so that as soon as you click that download results and open that file, it's already pivoted, it's already formatted exactly the way you want it. So other kind of use cases for buttons, maybe you need to create a constituent profile. So again, we're looking at just a regular contact record. I've got a button. I click proceed. When I click that button, download when it's completed, open that file, and here is my donor profile. Buttons can also have prompts or parameters for entering information. Oh, I don't know why the page just run down. So when I click proceed on this one, which again, we're just looking at a regular account record in Salesforce, when I click proceed for that merge action on that button, it's actually asking me for a date range. So I will choose whatever, sure. I click proceed. So the button can include a prompt for information. When I open that file, we can see this is the date range that I supplied, and here's all the information in that feeds into that merge action. Where else can I put buttons? How about on a Salesforce homepage? So here, now, for each of these other buttons that we've looked at, these are on a specific record, meaning when I clicked attendee name tags, it created them just for this one event. When I clicked on contact profile, it's producing the profile just for this one contact. Similarly, here for this giving summary, just for this one account. On a home page, it's actually just executing whatever the report behind that merge action is running. So it's not limiting it to a record for a page that I'm on. It's just running whatever the logic behind that button. That button is attached to a report. So whatever the logic of that report, that's what's running here. So for example, I'm running the annual tax receipt. When I open that file, I should speak more slowly. When I open that file, you can see it's produced for several records based on the logic of the report. Buttons can also be associated with list views. And what I mean by that is we're looking at, this is just a regular Salesforce list view where I'm looking at my recently viewed campaigns where I can select two or more, or one or more really, of those records. And then this create name tags button is actually an Apsona button that's been incorporated into the buttons for that list view. When I click run, it's basically the exact same functionality, except that it's running it for both of those events at the same time. So the results that I see here is the combination of both events. So how did I create such awesome buttons? Let me show you. And oh, like we were saying before, who can click these buttons? So I am logged in as a user with the full capabilities in Apsona, a standard license. If I was a specialized license user, it's kind of pointless for me to even show you this because it looks exactly the same. So I've just opened a window where I am logged in as a specialized license user, and I have exactly the same capabilities. Again, kind of stepping back a little, depending on the permissions that I have as a user, as far as which objects and what permission I have to those objects might be a factor. But from an Apsona perspective, the license, whether it's a full standard license or the specialized license, I can click a button executing a merge action. So, just to kind of, I know I said I wasn't going to spend a huge amount of time talking about kind of the guts behind those buttons, but basically there are three components to a merge action. One is your data source, and that's typically a report that you've created in Apsona. The second is a template. This can be your Word document or an Excel template. And then the merge action, which is the combination of the two where you've defined the rules of that merge action, what template you're using, how the fields from your template should be mapped to the fields in your report, bunch of other options. This particular action is named gift acknowledgement letter for review. So just those are kind of what's behind each of those buttons. How I create that button, if I go to in Apsona, and now for this part, I do need to have a standard license. A user with a specialized license does not have the ability to access the options that are needed in Apsona to create a button. So I would go from the settings menu to merge actions, and then I've used the inline filter option to search for that merge action that I was just showing you. I simply click the make button button. I really wish we would relabel that so I don't have to say make button button. And then I have the option of, is this button going to be added to a home page or is it related to a specific object? And that's the difference you see here in whether it's on a home page or if it was part of a record page, which is telling Apsona this needs to be filtered for just this one record versus on a home page where it's just executing whatever the logic behind that report that the merge action is using. So I'm going to choose home page. Let's say we want to add, much like we have here, a button for the annual tax receipt. We want to create a button for that for our individual gift acknowledgments. Option for Salesforce Classic, if anyone is still using that. Lightning is the default view, detail page or list view. Again, that's what we were looking at here. This is a list view component, and to create these is a little bit different, but I'll show you that as well. I click generate and it creates this big long string of indecipherable code. I simply want to copy it. Although it's meaningless to me, it means something to Apsona. Then on the page that I want to add the button, and this may depend on your capabilities in Salesforce. If you have the option to edit the page that you want to put the button on. If not, you may need to go to one of your system administrators to do that. You should see an option called Apsona DocGen button V2. I don't know why I see so many of them because this is a demo environment. I'm going to simply drag that component to the place on the page where I want to put that merge action. And you can see over here in this panel on the left, no, that would be right. For the component, there's that action code field. I'm just going to paste that big long string that I copied from Apsona. I can change the button text to run gift acknowledgements, and then I can change the prompt text if I want. I click save. It has saved. I can go back. And now I should see that run gift acknowledgement button that I just created. If I wanted to create this as part of a list view, the functionality is a little bit different. If I choose list view here, oh wait, close that and go back to that, make button, list view, generate, oh, silly me. We want that to be a list view on the account. I'll say generate. Now notice it's got like kind of a bit more code to it. It's not just one long string. Again, I'm just going to copy it. And again, depending on your permissions, I am over in, if you select from the settings wheel, select setup. I went to object manager. I selected, oh, I would want to go to the account object, buttons, links, and actions, create a new button or link. It takes a minute. I'm going to call it the gift ack. I would then, in this big block at the bottom, paste my code. I want to make sure I select that this is for the list button. Save. Gives you a little warning that you're not going to be able to use this button unless you actually put it somewhere. So then the next thing I want to do is go to the list view button layout, edit this. If at this point you're thinking, geez, Lori, this is a lot of steps. How am I going to remember this? Don't worry, you don't need to. There's instructions. I'm selecting Gift Ack as an available button. I'm going to add it, move it up. Oops, I moved it all the way down. Click Save. And now if I go to, let me go over here and go to Accounts. I should see my Gift Ack button here now. So, and maybe Aaliyah, when you send the follow-up to the webinar, I strongly recommend we include a link to these instructions. They're very detailed, very helpful. They basically just go through all of the things that I just showed you. So sorry, I'm probably scrolling too fast to actually see all of that. So I know I went through that really quickly. I see lots of hearts flying. That's wonderful. Any questions? I am happy to dig into creating merge actions more deeply or add another button, whatever would be useful for everyone.
I can start the questions. I see two in the Q&A. It says, are specialized licenses always more limited than standard licenses? If so, are they cheaper then?
Yes, great question. Specialized licenses are more limiting. Notice that I'm in Apsona, and in addition to all of these object um, options that I see, I also have some Apsona specific menus, settings, reporting tools. If I'm a specialized licensed user, when I go into Apsona, I don't see all of those objects. Kind of the primary difference is that I don't have the abilities that you have in Apsona to manage data, to create records, to update records, to edit records, to delete records. I can't do that, but I can run reports. So I see the reports option. I've got the single and multi-step reports, so that looks a little bit different, but I see all the same folders and all the same reports, assuming that the folders have been shared with all users or with the group, the profile that I'm in. But when it comes to clicking buttons, I have all that functionality. I should have all of the same, but they are less expensive. I actually don't know. The cost difference depends on the bundle that you purchase. But that's a great question.
Yeah. The next question is, can buttons be made for multi-step reports that cross objects, or can a button be only for one object?
Oh, another great question. So first, let's talk about what a button does. A button doesn't run a report. A button executes a merge action. So like this report right here is a report. It is a multi-step report. It does include multiple objects in that report. When I run the report, then execute a merge action, I am using a multi-step report behind that button, but the button runs the merge action, not runs the report. If I want to run the report, I don't need to create a button for that. I can actually just create like a hyperlink. Like you can see this component right here is just a rich text component. So this is just hyperlinked text. When I click on that link, now I'm running a multi-step report. As a specialized licensed user, I can do that as well. Again, if I jump back over here to my specialized licensed user, if I go back over to the home page, you see I have that same capability. I can click on that report and run that report. And then launch the merge action that the button could be doing. So it's a kind of a, quicker way of getting to the same place.
Awesome. Is there a way to trace the button back to the merge action or report it uses?
Oh my God, you guys are asking such great questions. Yes, there is. So if let's see, do I have one that is like still hanging out? Yeah. So after you've run any merge action button, you have this little blue information icon. If you click on that, it tells you the name of the merge action and the data source, which in this case is a multi-step report named account giving summary top level. I know, I love that feature. And I didn't even know it was there for the longest time.
Awesome. If the button is on the home page, can you still apply the parameters like date range?
Yes, yes, you can. I don't think that any of the examples I have a date range or have any kind of parameters. And I should mention that too. Let me go back for it. Sorry, I'm jumping around all over the place. Did I still have that open? Yeah. So if I look at in any merge action, this is run parameters. That's what that date prompt was. So I can add, it can be like a yes, no checkbox, currency, a date field like we just saw, a number field, or a text field. So that prompt doesn't necessarily need to even be dates. It can be any of these things.
Great. Part two to that question is, I don't know if you answered this already, but can a button be made for multi-step reports with variable merge functions? For example, one button per type of reports.
Yeah, so I think what you would probably want to do in that case is actually have a separate report that has a separate merge action for different reports. And the example that comes to mind all the time is sometimes, especially for something like a gift acknowledgement, where sometimes you might want to print and mail gift acknowledgements, but for some donors, you want to email them. I would create those as two different reports, one for the population that you're emailing and one for the population that you're mailing. And then you would have two separate merge actions and two separate buttons. And then when you click those buttons, the one that emails automatically sends that email. In fact, I think we have one existing here. So when I click run for this merge action, whether I'm clicking run here or clicking a button, it's actually producing the gift acknowledgement letter and attaching it to an email that is automatically being sent to the donor. Hopefully that answered the question. That was just an example. Thumbs up, great.
Yeah. Okay, this looks like the last question, maybe. Can a user with a specialized license change parameters on a report and run it?
Yes. And I'm going to answer that question in two ways. One is parameters on a report. I'm going to say, do you mean filters on a report? If so, yeah, well, actually, either way, the answer is going to be yes. But as any type of user, I have access to this change filters button when I'm running a report that allows me to change the parameters or change the filters that are behind a report. I'm not permanently editing this report. It's just like a one-time change. So if I change this date range, click change, it's going to rerun the report with that new criteria that I gave it. If I'm running a merge action, if I'm clicking a merge action, let me see. Oops, I'm clicking too fast for the page to keep up with me. um, that has a date range. Oh, I guess I don't have enough permission to get to that. But if I did, if those parameters that come up here, let's see if I can find it now. The any a specialized user can enter those as well.
All right, we've got one more question. We have different acknowledgments based on the type of donation. If a button is placed on the donation page to print a letter, would you just use a generic report, or how would you apply filters for the type of donation it is?
So what I would recommend doing is in your merge action, there is the ability to supply logic to choose different templates. So if it's based on the designation or the constituency of the donor or whatever the case is, if you can apply, you can create a conditional field in your report that says, okay, if they're this constituent, use the alternate template. If they're this other type of constituent, use the default template. And you can have as many, you can see you can add another here, you can have as many conditional templates as needed. So that way you only have one merge action to run, but it chooses the correct template based on the criteria that you've supplied. Hopefully that answered that question. I see a little heart, so that must be a yes.
Awesome. And we are just at time. So Lori, can I take over the screen share to
Yep.
show
Sorry.
these last two slides just to off. So if you're wondering what resources are available to assist you in setting up buttons and beyond, we do have a library of resources. I have a PDF version of this that I will also send in our follow-up, but just so you can get a visual of what's available. And thank you for joining. The recording will be sent out shortly. Awesome. Thank you for
Thanks,
being here
everyone.
today, Apsona.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.